there, welcome to Opaly Hour. Today I am going to be showing you the Moomin build from issue 66. I have completed it up to this stage, and I do have several stages that can be completed till my next delivery. So I will eventually, when we start putting this sort of thing onto the house, show you what I have done, although there's a glimpse of it in the introduction. So the Moomin House obviously is from the Moonins from a long time ago. Today we are going to be making these and also finishing off this. So we will be needing the log, what's it called? The log shed, basically. And it gives you the instructions, gives you a little bit of information here, a bit of the stories and that type of thing, and then also the instructions of what we're going to do today, concluding on the log shed. So what I'm going to do is probably slightly different to what most people would do, is I will show you all the parts. And because the I've got fluff on my board, because I use dye for this, and because it's quite a messy process, I will do that off camera, but I will do it before I start gluing things together so it gets a chance to dry. I will show you what I do with this, so that you are aware, or at least some of, and I will also be putting dye instead of paint onto the logs here. But let me show you what we get in this issue. Alrighty, so we get 1, 2 B's, 1 C, and they all have letters on them, and then we have 1 A. Oops, let me get this out of the way. A D and an E, can't read obviously, and then we have some more E's as well, so these are also E. Helps if I probably turned the letters around like I did on these ones. I don't think it matters, I'm sure you can read, you've probably watched enough YouTubes now, you can read upside down. And then some F's here, and there are 4 of those, which I will be dyeing all of them, and then the logs which you are meant to paint this side, but again I'm going to pop a little bit of dye on instead, and there's 3 of those. So I'm going to get all my dye and everything ready to get that started. It is really quite a quick process and it dries very quickly. I prefer it to paint because paint will leave the lines, or maybe I'm just not a very good painter, but it does tend to leave the lines. So here we are, this is what we're going to be doing today, and then we're going to be putting them together, finishing off this log. You will also need a little log shed here that we made previously on another issue. I can't remember which issue it was. I will find out how long. I'm pretty sure it tells me in the book what issue number that was. And there's my puppy playing again, of course. And it came from issue number, let's see, 64. So a couple of issues ago. Alrighty, so that's what we're going to be doing. Let me pause this and get everything ready. I do wear gloves for this, so hey, good fun. Right, let's get all this ready. So, it says I have to write a note on myself to shake this before using. I have tried several times without shaking it, and I have to be honest with you, it doesn't work well because it separates within the pot. I've had this quite a long time. I bought it specifically for the Moomin House because there's quite a lot of wood involved, and I would recommend you use some sort of gloves, and I just pour a little into the pot here. Or quite a bit in this case, and put this to one side to make sure it doesn't have any drips anywhere. And all I do is I bought some of these little applicator brushes. They're from Amazon. Again, it seems to be my thing. And I'll start with these little logs, and all you do is we're just putting a little bit of paint on the paint is dye on here, and then I'm going to be wiping it off, which sounds really counterintuitive, but it it works. Just going to put that there and wipe all these off, and then you can see what it does is put a little bit of dye on it, but not too much. And these are not really wood, they're plastic, so it may not work as well. So I'm not going to rub too hard because I want some of it to remain. And I'm going to put those over to dry. And these are really very quick. On the back of these, by the way, they do have letters, so you know you can see what they are. So let me get this right so you can see the letter A just there. Okay, and those are going to go and dry. And then I'm going to get on and do all these sticks. There's a lot of them and we have to do both sides, so I'm going to do a couple and then continue off camera. So you can see it looks like it's really dark, but it really isn't when you wipe it all off and everything. Just got to go careful because of splashes, so just protect your area that you're working on. And when this dries, it should end up being quite a nice colour and close to what they want. So let me do another one for you, and then I'm going to get on and do the rest of these. Get that out of the way. And you don't need a lot of this, it goes a long way. And I do use rubber gloves for it. You don't have to, it will come off your hands. I'm just wary of it. Right, and put that there, and again just wipe it off. And you can see it has stained, it will stain the wood and everything else. Of course my brush fell off. And put that to one side. Let me get on and do the rest of those, and I will see you in a moment your time, in quite a while for me. Alright, that is that tidied up. I have to be honest with you, it does make quite the mess, and you know, we want it as clean as we can. Let me zoom in a little bit for this. So what we're going to do, this is all dry now. It literally only takes a few minutes. I've known people to also use it straight away. So what we're going to be doing with these is making 3 circles, basically, and then put some logs on, and that will be the end of this video. So it won't be a long video. So like I say, the dye does make a bit of a mess, so just be prepared for that. And also the I'm just sorting these into piles, and also they are quite delicate, so again, be aware. So these ones will be the first ones that I'm using, and I need a C, so they do still have their lettering on. And I will be using a second B, so I'm going to be using those, and I will be using wood glue for this and holding them together with some bulldog clips and a piece of grease-proof paper, and then letting them dry. Because it's wood glue, it is quite quick, so I'm just going to push these to one side until we get those ready. And then lastly on this video, we will put in the wooden logs into our log shed here. I'm just trying to see if there's a right way and a wrong way. Oh, the curved end is going next to the Moomin House, so this will be pointing outwards, just so we know. Okay, so let me get this underway. So we start off by having it round this way so the letter is pointing upwards, and we are going to, I'm not sure on this stage if that matters whether it's up or down, but I'm kind of going from the picture there, and we are attaching a B to this, so quite straightforward, a bit like doing a jigsaw puzzle really. Make sure there isn't too much glue. I'm not going to put my paper or anything on there yet until I'm ready to dry it, because I don't want to I want to have it flat basically. And then I'm going to put this in here and put some on the end. Beauty of using the wood glue, and I use Loctite, is that you can just have and using an applicator like this, is you can just get a little bit out. I can imagine that some people probably use super glue for this, but wood glue really does set very strong, and it's not like we're in a hurry. I've been working on this for a long time, well over a year, so a very long time, and therefore, you know, there's no rush to part works, and that's what makes it really relaxing. Do be careful when you are dyeing or painting, you know, whichever one you want to do, to make sure that you are gentle with them, because they can easily snap. They're not the strongest pieces of wood, and I noticed that particularly going forward, some of them are a lot thinner than others. So let me try and get this one in. It's giving me a little bit of a hard time. And then join it up here, and then I'm going to get my wipe off any excess. I'm going to get my turn it over, make sure I've got no excess going on this side. It's pretty good. And all I'm going to do is put some border clips on the edges just to make sure it seals, and put it to one side to dry. And then I'm going to repeat this with the other circles, and there's 3 of them to do in this issue. And then this issue is actually finished, so it'll be, oh no, it's not, because I've got that log thing to do. But generally it's quite quick. I just find these bulldog clips work really well. I mean, I do have proper clips and things, but they seem to fall apart. Maybe I just got a really poor make, and you know, I need to get a better make, but that's what I have right now. Okay. And so I do have a lot of the Moomin House to go to get up to date. I'm actually been kind of waiting to get around to doing this channel. So that's the first one done, in order to put them together. And it's just taken a little bit of time. And again, we got 4 here. They are all letter E's, I think. Oh no, we got different letters again. So we got 3 E's and 1 D. And D, I guess it has this sort of pattern right on the end here. So we will get this one together. So we're going to start with an E. And again, I'm going to bulldog clip this one. Start here, making sure the lettering is upright. They are quite a good fit, so they're quite tight. And then follow that with another E, because that's what we have. Again, pop that one in there, move that one out of the way. And then lastly, the other one, last one, and again, this will need glue on both sides to make sure that it holds. Like I say, wood glue does have a really good hold with it. I like the idea of using wood glue. Worst comes to the worst, if I did something wrong, and I've waited for it to dry, of course, then it can be taken apart with little damage. If you use super glue, then you very much could have some damage. Now, of course, I do have applicators to take all of the glue out, but it's just as easy using your hands. In wood glue, it's very easy to remove. Let me get some small pieces of greaseproof paper so we're all ready. And I just need 4 for this one as well. Wasn't totally ready for this, was I? Oh well, got one more. Don't need to be really as big as what I've done here. But you get the gist of what I'm doing. And this is just to make sure that it will remain flat and sealed, and we won't have any areas that it kind of bulges. And then I'm just going to put it to one side. It takes about 20 minutes to dry, maybe even less. You could probably work on it, just make sure that's a really good seal there. That wasn't quite in. But you just want to make sure that it is really set before we are going to be playing around with it, not until the next issue. So we want to make sure that these are good and strong. But the next issue will be coming up tomorrow, so there we go. And now also the beauty of this is they are off the surface here, but they're all evenly off the surface. And I'm going to put that to one side to dry as well, and get on and do the last one. So Now most of my clips, unfortunately, are I just need to buy some more. Really, I just need to buy some more. That's what it comes down to. I just ripping paper ready for this one, and I ripped it all in the wrong places. So we will get this one together, and we got F, F, F and F, so all F, so it doesn't matter which one we use. Again, wood glue in all 3 of the joints there. Put it in. You could probably use less. You probably don't need to use the amount that I do, but I do like to make sure that we have a good seal. That one's a lot looser fitting than I've had on the others that I have done. And then pop that in here. And some of the videos with the moon in are definitely going to be less in time than some models, because some will have very little to do, like this one's not got a lot to do really, whereas others will have a ton to do, or they're very tricky or very small pieces. The Moomin House is a lot more arts and crafty than when I did the Disney Dolls House. That didn't have much arts and craft to it at all. So I'm just going to make sure that we got a nice circle, and you can see that this is just looser. So let's get this on. I mean, it really is a lot looser, which is another good reason to use that. I mean, this one's just like coming apart really. Go back in there. Go on, you fiend. Maybe I should start over this side, holding them together, because it doesn't want to do it very well from there. And I can see that one's come off again. Just make sure I'm going to just push that back in. Wow, this is really, you can see how loose this is. So I've got another one. I'm just going to put one on here while I've got these two together, being that they seem to not want to be together. Oops. And then put them, join them together here, and hopefully they still all fit. Let's go to get one on here. These are really loose, aren't they, compared? And then lastly, we will do that log. And the last bulldog clip I'm using isn't the best in the world. This one's been used on a quite a wide panel, but it should be okay. Alright, let me put that to one side, and we will get on and do the, get this on, the log shed. I hope you are all keeping well, and let me see what order we need to do this in, because I know it does have a specific order, because they do all have letters on the back there. So I'm going to get the letters showing to me. So we got A, B and C, and the first one we are going to be putting on is A, and it just goes in here flat onto the bottom. Now because, which it's actually not going to do, so that's interesting. But you certainly want it. There we go, that's pushed in now. And you can see towards the back there, but of course I do have it the wrong way around. You know, kind of expect that with me really. So another good reason not to use too much super glue. I don't trust myself. So let me see if I can push that back in. But before it gets to the bottom, I'm going to put some glue on. And I'm just going to use the tacky glue by Aleene's, it's called. If I can get the lid off. So some of these glues, like the Beacon 3-in-1, if they start to get a bit low, if you hold them upside down, it really helps. Which is what I've done with this one, but now I've been messing with it, it's probably going to be up again. I used to use this glue a lot, but I kind of stopped, and I don't know why, because it works really well. It will work instead of a wood glue as well. So I'm just going to pop that back over there for a second and try this again. Just so you can see, make sure that you've got your little dyed edge. I'm sure if you were crafty, you could probably go around these logs like with a little black pen. It's definitely not my specialty, so I'm not going to be worrying too much about that. Next we're going to put B, and we're going to do that straight on top of A, facing the same direction. So again, using a little bit of this glue. Like this. And you can see that that goes on nicely. Just got to make sure that it's not going too far over on the back, because the back is going to be against the house, so you want to make sure that you're not going over this line here, otherwise you could have problems. And last but not least, let's do C. And again, just going to put a little bit of this glue up here. Doesn't need it really on all of them, but it dries clear, so I mean that's the beauty of this glue, is it does dry clear. And I'm also going to put a little bit on the sides of this one, because it's kind of going to hold all the rest in place. So just because they're going to be attached to each other, what I don't want is when it's picked up by little hands, which I'm sure will happen, it all falls apart and it goes all over the room, and then I spend the next several hours trying to find exactly where it is. Alright, so that's all we have to do for this build. Like I said, if you are arts and crafty, then you could technically, it's not dry yet, so do bear with me, you could technically go through those logs with a little black pen. I don't hold that much detail in my head, so I'm not able really to do that. And these are all the right way around for the log, that it is the dyed area, what I've put dye on, looking forward, and it will dry nice and solid. So let's have a look at what we have coming up next. I'm just putting this to one side to dry, so as I drop everything. So next we will have the Moomin number 67, and we are going to be concentrating on the roof, and this looks an absolute nightmare to me. So we will see how we do. I just got to remember to make sure I don't put anything here by the looks of it. I'd imagine that's going to have, maybe that's where the dormers go in, the dormer window, where I know it's going to have. But yeah, that's it. So thank you ever so much for joining me. A nice short video compared to some of my ones. I'm sure this one will be a bit longer. But thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you for Moomin number 67, which should be tomorrow. So just to confirm what we've done today, very quickly, is we have joined our 3 circles here, and we have got those drying so that they will become nice and solid. And we also have done the log shed, where we have the lettering towards the back, which is going against the house, and making sure that it is in the right spots, and it can poke out a little bit from the front, but that is the way that it is meant to go, and hopefully that will lie nice and straight. You could get probably a straight rule on the back here if you were worried about it, but I think it kind of works where it is. Alrighty, well thank you very much for watching. Please feel free to comment or send an email to opallyhour at, I want to say home every time, opallyhour@outlook.com. And I would try and get back to you or answer any comments as soon as possible. Please click like and subscribe, and this way you will get notified of any new content and videos going up. And please, out of everything, do take care of yourself,